How's it going again, everybody? Northy is back. This time, round 17 review. This one, I am honestly gutted for. I have found out the results of this one a bit earlier because I was very interested to see how we went. But yeah, this one is going to be a very, very heart-wrenching one. The review overall has some positive lights in it, like the North Melbourne win against West Coast. I am so happy with that. I don't think I can understate how happy I am with the North Melbourne boys against West Coast up in Perth. For a team that was expected to do nothing, just to kind of lay down and die, to pull out a 10-point win, that's big stuff. That is huge from the boys, and I'm very, very happy that we may not actually find ourselves on the bottom of the ladder by the end of the year. There's a chance it may not happen. They look strong. They've looked quite strong over the last few weeks, and so maybe they'll bring that towards the end, and hopefully we won't see a bottom of the ladder position, but who knows what happens. At the end of the day, though, all I can say is good stuff to the North Melbourne Kangaroos for doing me proud, doing me very, very proud on Monday night. But as you guys know, we are here for one reason, and that is to check out how we did throughout the week. We'll start off with star powers because this one hurts. This one really, really hurts. As you can see right here, I've changed up the team a little bit, and I can change it back to show you guys what we had. So this is the team that we had going into round 17. As you can tell, one glaring obvious here is that one of the players did not play. Joel Selwood, I did not find out until the game had started that he had been rested. I believe they managed him to make sure he was getting some rest in, and I was just not aware of it. You have to be on and up to date with stuff like this, unfortunately. And if you get caught out, then you deal with the punishment. And unfortunately, the punishment is a freaking 93rd place round performance with 4 players. 4 players got us into a top 100 position, which I cannot believe. I cannot believe we did that well. All it took was for me to put Daniel Rich, Scott Pendlebury, or David Mundy in. One of those 3, and bang, we've gotten ourselves a top 20 performance. But, of course, I decided to put in the one player that wasn't playing, Joel Selwood. So, that ruined my chances. I knew it was pretty much a lost cause from the minute I found out that Joel Selwood wasn't playing. However, 93rd position with only 4 players is not bad, and that is because these 2 played out of their mind. We had Ben Cunnington, who played really, really well. He had 26 disposals, 8 marks, 5 tackles, a goal, just doing it all. He really did, and Ben Cunnington, I love him. I love him so much. He's such a great player. And Brody Grundy, a 120-point performance. Absolutely huge. Double that for a 240-point performance with Brody by himself. So these 2 together brings it up to about 410? Close to 410 points between these 2. It's just these 3. I wouldn't even say they let me down because these 2 didn't even have bad games. Joel Selwood, absolutely. But I mean, you can't really blame it on him because he's managed out of a game. That's my own fault. But Riley O'Brien had 66 points. If we had Jacob Hopper, this would have been an awesome week. This would have been a ridiculously good week. Hence why I had him in beforehand. Taron Thomas had a really good game too. However, I'm interested in switching him up with someone a little bit more proven. Although I love Taron, he's been playing awesome as of late. 24 disposals last week. Then 19, a goal and a few marks as well. Put him really high in the Rising category. Rising had a really good week, actually. But I'm going to put Jordan Ridley in there, hoping things will go well. Legend as well. I'm switching out to David Mundy. David Mundy has had a really, really good season. A lot of people have mentioned that he's brought his career back on track, done a really good job at his age to bring it all back together. So I'm going to chuck him in for next week. Just got to hope that this lineup does well for me because, I mean, it did well for me this week, but as everyone knows, things change up super duper quickly. 93rd point score, 93 point score, that's not what I mean. A 93rd ranked position is not bad at all. We just missed out on one big thing, and that's what's got me gutted for this one. But trust me, it's not the biggest. It's not the biggest sadness I've got this round. As we head over to the top 4, you can see right here in our top 4. This is our lineup, and I got a message from one of you guys on Instagram at Northy AFL. Be sure to go follow me over there. You guys had the exact same lineup as me. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But we had the exact same lineup, and we ended up with a score of 412. A really, really good game. These guys all played really well. Brody was the best ruckman, and Roy was the best backman. It was just, the forward was Jaden Stevenson. Not many people would have expected Jaden to be the top performer for top 4, but nonetheless, he did well. And Jack Steele, he did well, but Christian Petrarca and Tuke Miller both played better. Only 15 points between them, but Jack Steele still wasn't good enough compared to Tuke Miller. And what I've learnt so far all this year is that you just got to stick with your guns. You got to stick with them. I have had Tuke Miller in my lineup for 2 or 3 weeks. The minute I took him out, 130 point performance. Really, really heart-wrenching stuff there. And it cost us. It cost us a top 10 spot. We could have been in the top 10. As you can see right here, 15 points off. Tuke Miller literally would have put us in the top 10. That's so disappointing. It hurts so much. I do not understand how I keep getting this unlucky. 412. Last week, you made the top 10 with 397. That was the best. That was his 10th best score. I'm like, 412? Surely that's okay this week. Nope, 10th place had 427. Ridiculous stuff. I'm not really sure how else I'm supposed to get a top 10 finish in top 4 unless you really just pick every good one for the round, and that is so hard to do. Ridiculously difficult to do, so this week was a bit of a bummer in terms of top 4, because I really thought I had it. I'm like, wow, there's an actual good chance that I get this top 10 spot this week, and then 10 people just had absolute blinder weeks. I'm almost certain that there'll be someone out there who maybe had Christian Petrarca or someone like that, or a Paul Backman, and they're even closer. As you can see, I was only ranked 42, so there was clearly better people than me, but man, I felt good. I felt good after the round, and unfortunately, it just didn't pay off. This team did not do bad at all. Maybe Bontempelli could have been better, but Rory Laird, best backman out of all of them. Very happy with that. Brodie Grundy, best ruckman out of all of them. Very happy with that as well. Like, things here and there that I was super happy with, having 2 of the best 4. But then Bontempelli came out with a 75-point performance, 50 points less than the best one. Again, not many people would have had Jaden Stevenson, but he had an absolute blinder. Look at those stats. That's what I like to see from my North players. But like I say, you got to stick with your guns. You got to stick with them. And unfortunately, this week it just didn't happen for me. And we also got proven that you may need to stick with your guns here. Just little things here and there that mess with it that you really hate to see. But unfortunately, we got to lick our wounds and go at it again next week. But we go to our top 18. I've changed up a few of the players already. Forward line is unchanged. This one I can quickly change up who originally was in here, and that was Jack McRae, wherever he is at right now. There he is. This was my lineup except for Tom Stewart, I believe. However, this one hurt as well. The forward line, I think for the most part, were the ones that let me down. Again, I think I took out Tuke Miller, and he had a blinder. Like, man, I feel like every time I give up on someone or rest him for a week to see how the lineup I have goes, everything just falls. Everything does. And it was so disappointing to see. I've already made changes here and there. Like, the one time I had Tom Stewart in, the one week I did, he had a poor performance. And then the next week and the weeks after, he's just a marking machine. 12 marks last week. Like, he's a really solid player. It's just every time he's in my lineup, he plays poorly. So I've switched him in this week. Hopefully there isn't a poor performance this time. But yeah, you can see my biggest change was Jack McRae, because he's putting up some pretty average numbers at the moment. He didn't get his usual 30 disposals, which was really rare for Jack McRae. But I also didn't have players like Tuke Miller, Petrarca even. I wouldn't mind putting Petrarca in. I've chucked in Tuke Miller, and I'm seeing here who I'm going to switch up for next round as well. The forward line, though, is just so difficult. It was so difficult to find a good player. And if you guys remember in the preview, I was going back and forth between Hawkins and De Goey. Couldn't you guess, De Goey was the second best player for the round. So this one was really hard to swallow. They've got, like, Lance Franklin looked really poor off the start, like really poor. And that kind of ruined his performance for the rest of the game. Langford, I put him in once, had an awesome performance. I've trusted him ever since, and he just hasn't been able to do big things since then. Jack Billings, 100 points and then 81 points. He couldn't perform at all when I had him on the squad for a while. So I don't know what's going on, but there's some players who have really turned it off, like haven't been playing up to their standard, and then as soon as I take him out of the team, they do stuff like this, which is really annoying, but at the same time, not much I can do. Like Jordan DeGoey, that's my own fault. I thought about him and told myself I probably should have used him. But as you can see, I've made a few changes here and there that I think I'm still gonna make a few more. Probably the forward line as well. Like there's one big player I think that I'm missing. These two played really poor on the weekend, and I don't expect that to be the way it goes for the rest of the season. So hopefully the forward line won't perform as poorly as they have been so far, or at least for that previous round. But backline, for the most part, was awesome. I think it was Whitfield that I had in here before that really let me down. Salem played awesome. Lloyd played awesome. Mills played awesome. Chris played awesome. The backline is not terribly difficult to really work out. As you can see right here, I didn't have Stewart or Tui in, but Salem, Lloyd, Mills, Chris, Laird, they all were in the top 7 from what it looks like. And then when you look for Whitfield, he had like 20-something points. I'm looking for the Giants, yeah, 24 points. He was in the lineup, been playing well all season, and then pulls out that. I don't know how else to describe that, but that's super rough. But I'm hoping that we can get next week into the top 100. We were out by 3 positions this time at 1,441, and it'll be those performances like Whitfield, like the quiet night that Tom Hawkins had and Lance Franklin had. That forward line just needs to really start producing a lot more, because players or people like this who are getting 16,000 in a round like this are probably doing it based off of using players who either are high disposal getters, are on the ball a lot more, like Shea Bolton, Jack Billings, Jordan DeGoey. Those are forward players that are really starting to produce some numbers at the moment. But it's very interesting to see how the rest of this season goes. I'm still in the top 100 for the season. I can't remember if I am for every single one. I'm 116 for here at the moment. So again, hoping we can get into the top 100 here. That's the big goal, but another goal is the next prize card as well, which I thought we were going to have this week, man, but everyone just decided to pull their finger out, and now they've had a great week. So hopefully we can get some decent results next week. But we go over to the tips. As you can see, for our round 17, we got 4 out of 9. One of them being a North Melbourne tip. Don't ask me how any of this week worked. Brisbane got beat at Metricon in Queensland by St Kilda. That made no sense. Geelong, that one made sense. Got that one. Essendon, I got that one as well. I thought Richmond would pull it over Collingwood, but now I can't trust Richmond anymore. Fremantle over Hawthorn was a predictable one. Gold Coast beating GWS. Like, that is the epitome of a GWS season so far. Really strong performance from Sydney, almost a 20-point win against the Dogs, which is really impressive by Sydney, hence why a lot of people are talking about it in the premiership contenders now, which I think they totally deserve. They absolutely manhandled West Coast last week, and putting that strong of a performance up against the Dogs is really, really impressive. And then Port Adelaide versus Melbourne, probably the most understandable upset for me. I wouldn't even call it an upset. I think a lot of people did expect Melbourne to win it, but Port Adelaide at Adelaide, I was surprised they let them get beat that easily. Really, really surprised. But I'm sure a lot more people were surprised by this one. And I had a hunch. My hunch continues to work. I do not get it. I somehow tipped North versus West Coast right. Oh man, I'm always trusting my team, and look at that, pulling out a 10-point win against West Coast. I promise you, North Melbourne will not be on the bottom of the ladder before the end of the year. They're gonna get another win. Hawthorn, if they don't come up against a team like GWS, there's a good chance that, you know, maybe they won't win a game for the rest of the season. I'm not too sure, but Hawthorn, I did say in my video, my Let's Argue AFL video, that I thought Hawthorn was going to be bottom of the ladder, and there's a good chance it may happen. There's a very, very good chance, and North Melbourne beating West Coast, that is a huge win in the context of the season. Still puts us up for grabs for a high draft pick. We've got Jacob Edwards coming into the team. The team's starting to finally gel. Jaden Stevenson on top of his game for North Melbourne so far. That's his best game by far. So seeing that is really, really exciting for the future of North Melbourne. And hopefully we can get another win or two before the season is over, so we don't get a bottom of the ladder position. I'm praying we don't get that wooden spoon this year. That's all I can really pray for. But round 18. You can see right here, North Melbourne probably isn't going to win this one, but it's going to be a very interesting week. Who is going to get the upsets? Who's going to come back from their ruts? Can Richmond pull something off against Brisbane? Because remember, that game was big last time they played. Adelaide versus West Coast. This one's going to be a real toss-up. I'm confident if we can somehow pull a win up against Essendon, which I don't think will happen, if we can somehow do it, then this game should go the way we think it should, and North Melbourne are off the bottom of the ladder. All it takes is a North Melbourne upset now. Just one upset could do it for North Melbourne, and I'm really, really excited to see how this round 18 scores go. But that's where I'm going to end it. As I said, lots of disappointments, but also lots of positives that we're really getting into the end of the season, the exciting part of the season, how the top 8 forms, who misses out, who makes it, who goes into the finals strong and on a high, where the bottom of the ladder is specifically for me. Obviously, North Melbourne will not be playing finals. However, I am very excited to see what the future is like, because last year, there was no excitement. Everything looked dull and bleak for this squad. This new rejuvenated squad, pulling off somehow only a 30-point loss to the Dogs and beating West Coast at Perth, that is a strong team. That is a resilient team, and I'm really excited to see what North can do now. But that's where I'm going to end it. I'm talking too much about my team. If you guys enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I appreciate all of you for tuning in. I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.